every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. And in addition, we are also aired on Radio 365 Grenada. It will be our pleasure to host you in this show. We talk about life, things that matter to persons in life, and things that are necessary to be discussed. Others may not discuss them, but join us, 6:30 p.m., Living Life God's Way. Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to Living Life God's Way. Another exciting session will be going on this evening. We are honored to have you join us on our program. We welcome you. Good evening from myself. I'll let these two beautiful ladies say hello to you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Living Life God's Way. It is indeed a pleasure to be back with you this week, and thank you for joining with us. I want to encourage you to take the opportunity to share the live stream as we get set to have a very interesting discussion that's, I'm sure, is going to be enlightening and very educational.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Living Life's God's Way with Pastor Brian Calendar, Sapphira Lamoth, and myself, Dr. Patricia Benjamin. We're really excited to connect with you again this week. Looking forward to a great show.
All right, thank you, ladies. So we're excited about what we're going to talk about. Though it's a necessary conversation that we must have in this time. We are dealing with a pandemic, and our mental stability is important. How we function is important. Pastor Sophia, I'm going to let you go ahead and get us started.
All right, once again, good evening, everyone. And so you're probably asking, why have we chosen to discuss this at this time? I mean, I know back in March, when it was first introduced back into the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago, COVID-19, a lot of talk shows, radio programs surrounded this topic. And you're probably wondering why we chose this topic again. If you've been following the news, you would have seen what's going on in some of the smaller islands. You have Barbados, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's wreaking havoc. If you've looked at what's happening in the UK, we had a statement from the Prime Minister Boris saying that now they have to prove that you're an essential traveler, and they've put strict measures in place. We're looking at states within the US that are now saying that we have to lock it down. There's much talk about the vaccination, what is happening, what is going on, and now people have begun to spin into panic, anxiety, fear is rampant. So today we thought it best to come and share some advice with you, have a discussion, a chit chat, and I want you to engage with us in the comments. We've been through this thing for almost 1 year now. If you are from where I am in Trinidad, our borders have been closed for almost a year. I think it's 311 days to be precise. And I know that it's taking a toll. So we're going to have that discussion this evening. So I'm going to start with Dr. Patricia, and we're just going to build around it. Let's talk about what has happened this past year. What is the mental, emotional state that persons can find themselves, especially now where there is, like in the Caribbean, there is homeschooling, so parents now become teachers, the stress from working at home, a lot of things are happening. Let's start there before we get into the practicality of how we can cope with a pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, there's some very pertinent points that you've made, particularly with homeschooling. And bearing in mind, this has been going on for the best part of a year. It's now beginning to take its toll. Even people that would consider themselves to be strong-minded and strong-willed, pretty tough, it's really getting to them as well. And so I feel as though people's mental health, their emotional well-being, and their spiritual standing is really what's under attack. There is that trauma. For example, if you're being told you can't spend time with your family, I was speaking to a close family member, and she went to see her sister, and who lives in like a care home because she has disabilities. And they wouldn't allow her to go in to see her.
Wow.
In the car and just wave to her. If you can imagine how distressing it is for her, but never mind her sister who with special needs, who has disabilities, who doesn't really know, doesn't really understand what's going on. And that term story is replicated, you know, many multiplied thousands across the UK and across the globe. So families are feeling dysfunctional, families are feeling detached, and there isn't that human connectedness, there isn't that connectivity which we need. You know, we are social creatures, we're not supposed to be alone. It's very, very difficult. So I feel, Pastor Sophie and Pastor Brian, that emotional well-being, your mental health, we need to take care of that. You know, the scriptures tell us that the spirit of man will sustain his infirmity. So what they're saying, that even if you're not well, but your spirit, if you have a strong spirit, you will still be sustained. And so it's important that people begin to build their spirits, build their spiritual practices. If you didn't have a spiritual practice, now is an ideal time to have a spiritual practice. If you had one, but you're a little bit lackadaisical, but now you want to dig deep, you know, you want to reconnect, this is the time to connect again with your faith, because really things seem to be ever changing, Pastor Sophie, Pastor Brian. You know, there are different rules all the time. People don't really know what to do. The foundations seem to be ever moving. And so when there aren't any foundations, what do you hold on to? And I think it's in times like these where your faith really comes into play. So I think we're going to have a good conversation today, Pastor Sophie. I really feel as though it's pertinent and it's necessary right now.
Yes. That's right.
And I certainly agree as well. Both of you mentioned it, and you know, we are in a place where we are normally encouraged by others, or you know, like you ladies, you may decide, oh, I'm going by a girlfriend and get some strength and encouragement there. But now we're in a place where we have to encourage ourselves, you know, because we still have to be very careful, because even you can live in a house with other persons, but you still have to be mindful. You know what? Like Pastor Sophie and I were discussing before you came on, Dr. Patricia, where we have the asystematic persons, where you know you don't know that you have it, you feel well, but you are a carrier, and that's a reality. So now we're in a place where we have to be considerate of each other. We have to be very mindful. So that in itself alone can be distressing, because where you're accustomed being in each other's faces, you have to consider now, okay, let me keep a little distance between me and my loved one in the event that I'm asystematic, so that I don't make that person sick. And you know, that alone is a difficult place to be. But we have to function in it now, because it is necessary. You know, it is not a joke. We are not in a place where this is a joke thing. This is a serious matter, and we are not operating in fear, but we still have to be mindful. You know, we have to be considerate and so on. So I believe that, you know, it is emotionally draining, it's mentally taxing, but we have to survive. So we have to find ways to encourage each other, just not being in the same space.
I think that's so true. So true. I think what has been happening is one of the things, and it's something that both you and Dr. Patricia mentioned, that lack of connection, that social isolation, that as human beings we aren't accustomed to. Even persons who are introverts, there is still maybe a small level of interaction, whether it is going out every day to a job, or you probably attend a religious institution, or you probably sit at the park, maybe by yourself, but you see the comings and goings of people, and we have no little or no social interaction. And Dr. Patricia, you were so right. There are people in the world that they can't visit with their family members, persons who don't fully understand what is happening, persons with disabilities, persons with mental health issues, and all of these things that we now have to take into consideration. You would have seen suicide rates increase within the past year. You would have seen broken homes. We have seen broken homes, marriages falling apart, families falling apart. It's as if the whole structure and fabric of society is underweight now, is under pressure. So let's talk about, before we go into some solutions, let us talk about some of the things that are happening now in terms of the physical things that persons have been going through this past year, before we address how we can overcome it, what are some of the solutions we can. Let's talk about some of the physical things like what we haven't spoken about, eating disorders. Now that you're home, things like those things. Dr. Patricia, I'll start with you and then go to Pastor Brian.
Yeah, I just want to actually use this opportunity just to speak to the listeners. I'm currently staying with my parents. I call them my VIPs. They're in their 90s. Now, usually I have somebody at home who's assisting, but today that person isn't here. So you may actually find me creeping very gently away from the screen because I've been called away. So I'm not being rude, listeners, but I need to go, because although I say to my dad, I'm filming, that won't mean anything. If he wants me to turn over the TV, or he needs a drink, he will still be calling me. So I just want to warn listeners, if I suddenly disappear, I haven't left the show. I'm just going to the VIPs for a couple of minutes. So Pastor Sophie, as you were saying, the fallout, if you actually look at the figures, when it comes to suicide rates, it is so distressing. And not only the suicide rate themselves, but the amount of people thinking about suicide. So that shows us where people's thoughts are, where they are emotionally. And this is where I feel shows like this, I feel ministries, organizations, I feel this is the time for us to step forward and provide the help. Because listen, there are people that have, say, insurance, where they go and see their therapist, but because they're not at work, because they're not earning, some people, they can't afford the therapy, they can't afford it, so they're not getting that support. And so I feel this kind of support, where we're talking and sharing, this is a talk therapy, where we're sharing suggestions and ideas. I feel this kind of approach is so helpful. So yes, the suicide rate is definitely on the rise, and I don't think it's something that we can just turn the page. I feel as if we can do whatever is in our ability, wherever we're at, to really bring some hope and some help to those people. So suicide is definitely an issue. Okay, Dad.
I had the opportunity to speak with persons who would have, contracted the virus, and some persons said they would have had simple things like a cough or simple things like a runny nose. They didn't actually feel sick, as it were, but they had a runny nose, or they had a cough, a bad cough. And then there are some others who I spoke with someone, and the person said, I just felt tired. So these are realistic things that people have to deal with. And then you have, let's say for example, you've contracted it, then you have the stress of worrying about, oh shoot, now who have I affected? Have I affected my mom? My mom may not be so well, and you have all of these different dimensions of this matter that you have to deal with. And so it's important that we encourage each other. And I would say things like messages and telephone calls, and a quick hello to someone, and just generally checking on each other. I think that those things will play and go a long way in this time that we're in, so that persons know that there's somebody who's there. Can you imagine what the nurses and the doctors and those of us who do counseling to a lesser extent, but those people, the nurses and the doctors who are actually there dealing with people, and they know that there isn't much that they can do, and they're trying their best, and then they have to leave work, make sure that they go home and make sure that they themselves are in a place of cleanliness so they don't affect their families, and then they have to leave again the next day to go back to the same environment. I can only, my heart really goes out to them, in this case. So we have to be in a place where we are encouraging each other now, saying good positive word. If Dr. Patricia, Pastor Sophie, if there was a way we could out with the negative now, with all the negative thought, the negative attitudes, the negative behavior. If there was a time that we need to be out with those things, look, I think that we are in a place now that loving your enemy now should be priority. Loving people who you may not talk to on a regular should be a priority, because we walk around and we think that, oh, I will never get this or that, but it is only God's grace that is really keeping us. And I really feel that it is time for us to shift from that place now and be some sort of support to each other. Like, you don't wait on the prime minister to do it. You don't wait on church leaders to do it. Everybody do it themselves. You encourage your friend. This other person encourage another friend. Send out a WhatsApp telling them, remember, we praying today. Everything is going to be okay. I think doing stuff like that right now is essential, and it will help build each other.
So very true. So very true. I think a lot of times we don't take into account the totality of someone's experience. We look at our own lives and we think our situation is bad. And true, it may be bad, but when we think of frontline workers, when we think of persons that have to take care of ailing parents, and these are not parents or relatives that have contracted COVID. This is on a normal, everyday circumstance. Those that are, you're a frontline worker. Like in Trinidad, kindergartens and daycare schools are closed. Where do you leave your kids? You have persons now, they have worsening health problems, you have difficulties sleeping at night, you have nightmares, and all of these things are now being added on top of your regular daily stresses, your regular little challenges that you have to overcome, your regular little thing that you have to deal with. And so today we want to focus, and Pastor Brian started off the discussion on how can we cope, and we're gonna try to break it down into different parts, like of the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical. So we would be able to share with you what are some of the things, practical tips that you can use in helping you to cope with that level of stress, with what's happening in your environment. And we know that everybody's situation is different. So let's start with the physical aspect, guys. So we start with the physical aspect. What are some of the things that we can actually do to maintain physical health and well-being? I don't know who wants to go first.
Want to go first,
Yeah.
Dr. Patricia?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to do when I came out here first and I got myself settled in, one of the things I wanted to do was join a gym. But that proved to be a challenge because they were all closing down and they weren't taking on any new members. And I was really annoyed about that because I really wanted to use this time just to look after my health and join the gym and just have a set time for just looking after me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said to myself, hold on a minute. What is this thing that I have all the time that I'm always using? Oh, I know, it's my phone. And on my phone, I have YouTube. And YouTube has thousands upon thousands of exercises.
Yeah.
So there are classes that you can do online, doesn't cost you any money. And the great thing is, excuse me, so many of us have a smart TV, so we can just stream it to our TV. So you can watch YouTube on the TV. So you've got a nice big screen, and you can work out in the class. So I thought, well, I can't use the lack of a gym as my excuse. I can do an exercise class on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And the great thing is I can do something different every day. So I can't say, oh, it's so boring, I'm really bored with it. No, there's so many different ones. So I think physically, they always talk about movement. It's very important to move your body. And so exercise is one of the best things. And it doesn't have to be a gym. It doesn't have to be anything very rigid. You don't have to use weights if you don't like weights. You can dance, you can stretch.
Right.
There's nothing better than in the morning you get up and you stretch. It's a bit painful if you've left it for a long time like me. You might find you're not as flexible as you thought, but it does get better. So I think exercise in its various forms now, and there's just so many, to do what you like. Do the ones that you like, because then you're more likely to stick with it. So I just want to put forward exercise. And if you don't have the YouTube, you might like to go for a walk, or brisk walk, whatever gets your heart rate up, go with a friend if you don't like going on your own. So many choices. I do feel that we need to take our power back by deciding this is what I can do for myself. This is how I can help myself. I'm going to stretch for 20 minutes, I'm going to go for a walk for 20 minutes, whatever works for you. That is being in the position where you are helping yourself, as opposed to being, oh, life is hard, life is tough, what am I going to do? You're starting to take back your life. So I'm going to put forward exercise in whatever form suits you, Pastor Sapphira, on the physical side. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. This morning I got up and I went for a walk not far from where I live. I had a good walk for half hour, and that was good. And you're right, Dr. Patricia. We have these little gadgets now that we can take advantage of, like you said, YouTube and stuff like that. Or there's also apps. I actually have an app on my phone. Let me see if I can find it now. It's called Lose Belly Fat. I actually
very specific.
Yes, it's very, very specific. It's called Lose Belly Fat, and it gives you a exercise pattern for 30 days. If you it's right there, and they give you exercises. You have all these exercises. So
great.
I downloaded that, and I when we had our first lockdown, that's what I was using,
Wonderful.
as my form of exercise. We are still allowed right now to go in your neighborhood. So if it came to the place where we are not allowed to go anywhere, I will revert to my app again, because mental bodily exercise is important. We need that, and I also think it helps with your mind as well.
Of course.
I'm not a physician at all, a doctor or anything, but based on my experience with exercising, I know that it makes you mentally strong. So even if you're in a place where you can't do much, like you said, Dr. Patricia, you can go for a walk, or like I said, you can revert to that app that I downloaded called Lose Belly
Yeah.
Fat, and there are many others that you can take advantage of. So we can use those things, that form of exercise, as a way to keep our body in
Yes.
some form of letting your heart.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. As Sophie.
Tell us, mhm. Tell us, Pastor Brian, seeing that you're advertising this app, has it worked?
The thing is, right? The thing is, because after things started to change, I started to go back to the gym, right? So I didn't need the app for the belly fat anymore. I started back the gym and started doing some stuff in the gym. But now it looks like I'm gonna have to. I don't know if you maybe my belly.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's working. It's starting
Good
to work.
job. Good job.
It's working. So, as Dr. Patricia and Pastor Brian spoke about exercise, I want to talk about the use of natural supplements, because this helps as well in taking care of your physical health. So every day I use vitamin C, and it's not the expensive kinds, guys. So don't think, oh, this is the kind for just regular vitamin C. And
Yeah.
I immune booster pack, and in it has omega 369, echinacea, vitamins, and a couple other things that help boost your immune system. And also, one of the things that I take, and it's pretty cheap, is B12, vitamin B12. It builds your mood. It's not a feel good, right? But what it does, it promotes energy. It helps support healthy nervous system and stuff like that. So you want to try getting some supplements that you can use if you're into herbs and into organic stuff, and you have started a kitchen garden and you have things like lemongrass growing or mint or any of those things that you can use to make teas and stuff like that. You want to consume those things. If you have like I know one of us here does a lot of chamomile tea, which allows you to relax and get into that place. So there are things that aren't expensive, because I know in some cases homes, you may be financially strapped now, things might be difficult, but there are simple things that you could pick up in the pharmacy now. They have them in packs. Well, I'm just calling from Trinidad, $5 packs that you can get, that you can take one a day, and that really helps to boost your immune system, boost your overall health and wellness. So my advice to you today is to get some things and be consistent in taking it. Guys, don't take it one this week and one next week. It's like an everyday thing. That would be one of my tips. You guys have any other suggestions on the physical?
No. Physical. No, I like what you're doing there with the supplements, and with the food. I have fresh fruit every morning. I think the fact that I'm in the Caribbean is just a blessing right now. So I'm having like fresh watermelon, honeydew melon, papaya, and pineapple. My plate, in fact, tomorrow I will send you a picture of my plate. I feel very blessed when I look at my plate. Beautiful, beautiful fruit. So just the natural form of the vitamin. I also want to add on, the Bible talks about the leaves of the tree for the healing of the nations. So I want to encourage us, if you don't already use essential oils, to begin to use them, because they really do strengthen your, as you said there, Pastor Sophie, your immune system. So have a look at what they're good for. If you're having problems, perhaps nasal issues, the eucalyptus, I think we're all familiar with eucalyptus. That's very, very good for clearing your passages, steaming with that, have a hot shower with that, or just maybe putting your head over a bowl of water with eucalyptus. But there are many essential oils, and they carry a very high frequency, and so they actually build your immune system. So all of these things that go in the earth, Don't leave it for other people to get the benefit of, and then we just overlook it. They are literally there for our good. So look into the essential oils, because remember, even these medications, some of these supplements, they are just a synthetic version of the real thing.
Yep.
So if you can get the real thing, and because of the climate, especially in the Caribbean, you can grow some of these things. I mean, my mum has all these trees back here. We've got like a noni tree. And if you have noni in Trinidad, I mean, they tell you that it's good for everything. It cures everything. That's the thing. It's good for everything. But if you try to buy it in England, it's so expensive. And it's not even the real thing because they water it down. But I'm getting it literally from the tree. So, yes, I think just let's take advantage of what we have in our back gardens. Absolutely. And as I say, the essential oils, don't get the synthetic version, get the therapeutic grades, because then you've got high quality oil with the high frequency that's going to build you. So look them up, find out about it. It will be a blessing.
That is so true. Go ahead, Pastor Brian.
No, I'm just gonna add to what the other Patricia is saying, and I like those. I actually get I like those scented oils. So I actually get a container, pour some of the oil in, and then boil some hot water and pour, and it gives the house a nice fragrance with
Very
those
nice.
oils. So I use those. And addition to that as well, I use I have gone back to earth when it comes to these things now. I am into garlic, so I drink a hot cup of garlic every morning.
Yeah.
I drink a hot cup of lemon water, and I also drink a hot cup of ginger. So I have 3 hot cups some mornings now.
Well done.
3 hot cups. So I find that they help with you get rid of a lot of toxins from your body as well. So these natural things are working. And then I was someone where sinuses bothered me a lot, and I found since I started using these things that I haven't had a sinus attack. Praise God, I cover myself in the blood even as I speak this. I haven't had a sinus attack in a long time because I've been, using. I started with the lime water, but then when all of these things were happening, along with the fruit and vegetable, that I've gotten into these hot liquids. And I think that like I said, I'm not a medical doctor, but I think that these things are important. That God has given us like you said, Dr. Patricia, these things are for us. Everything that we needed, God has already done. And I think that sometimes we move away from those important basic things, but the earthen things have the healing in them. You just have to find out what they are. But the garlic, the garlic, the ginger, and the lemon hot. Oh man, those are working. I actually think that my face look a little clearer since I have been using.
Yes, you're actually glowing, Pastor Brian. You've got a nice glow.
We're not quite sure if it's from that or if it's from the extra light in the studio. But
let's take the both of them.
Take them both.
Yeah.
Another thing too that we can add, and it's something that is if you have cold pressed oils like coconut oil, you can actually take a tablespoon 3 times a day, or once in the morning, once in the evening. So once it's cold pressed, it's excellent. So it's excellent. It hasn't undergone any heating process in the extraction of the oil. So you want to do cold pressed oil. Also, when it comes to physical, before we move on to the others, taking care of yourself physically, as in not just eating right and supplementation and all of that, but actually getting up and having a shower and changing your clothes from pajamas to all of those things put you in a different frame of mind.
Yes.
And not just staying all the, probably you would have, I don't know if you would have read stories, but I would have read stories where people say just putting on a little lipstick for us ladies, or, putting on a little bit of makeup, or Deb is saying getting a good night's rest. Because now that the hours are not, there isn't a pattern to the hours, a routine where I get up at 5 and I leave home at 7, get to work for 8, that kind of thing. Sometimes hours lead into hours, and we're up 2, 3 o'clock watching Netflix. And, so developing a routine is also very important when it comes to your physical health. All right,
even before you move on, Francis, so if it just like simple things, like you mentioned for you ladies, something like lipstick and stuff like that. But I say for us men, who like cut your hair, hopefully you have a machine at home, because as simple as these things are, I find that they do help with your mental stability. They still help you feel like, okay, I may not have anywhere to go, but I can still look sharp. So cut your hair, do grow your beard and shape it out, or something. Do something that causes you to be in a place where you feel like, what, I am doing something. I may not I cannot go anywhere really now, but I can do these basic things. So I say for the males, you cut your hair, do a different beard shape, or maybe you can try shaping your eyebrows, or do something, so that you're not in a place where you're just sitting there and the other person. Because I find like when we are not going anywhere, we will say, okay, my hair can grow long, my beard can grow long, I can look razzy, or I can look I don't have to do anything because I'm not going anywhere. But why not make yourself look sharp? Why not behave as if you have somewhere to go? You don't have to, because it's also a mental. And if you're somebody who was exposed to counseling, and you were taught counseling, you would know that one of the things that you do, you have to change position. If you don't change position, then your mentality is you are still in the same location. So you change position, and then your mind starts to move towards, oh, my body has changed, maybe I need to move with it. So I think that those things are important. Like I said, I know it may not seem like much, but it's important because it helps you to look at yourself different.
Yeah.
That's so
excellent.
Dr. Sophie, before you move on, let's take a quick pause here and
Prophetic Encounter presents our weekly devotionals starting this Sunday, 31st January, and continues every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Tune in for a time of intercession, warfare, and prophetic declarations. Mark 11:24 says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you have received it, and it shall be yours." PE, the Global Move.
All right, welcome back. So as we say, if you're now joining us, thank you for joining in on Living Life God's Way. We're talking about how to cope during a pandemic. And we talked a lot about the physical well-being. Let's talk about the mental aspect of it. What are some tips that we can use for mental health and wellness? And I'm going to start with Dr. Patricia on this one.
Yeah. mental health. That's really key right now. And the main thing I really want to share on this point is to actually be very discerning about what we take in mentally. The things that we are hearing, the things that you listen to, the things that you give your time to, the things that you watch, the conversations that you're having, the books that you're reading, the news programs that you're following from morning till night. I just want to say you need to look at what you're consuming, because our thoughts, we have this expression, you are what you think. Now, you might think that's a bit too strong, but there is a kind of truth in that, because what we're thinking, that affects what we start to say, how we behave. So what are you receiving? What are you feeding your mind with? Are you watching the news every day that's telling you how many new cases there are? Are you watching the news every day that's showing you, somebody who's died? At the end of the day, this is what I want to say. And this is no disrespect to those who have lost loved ones, because there are thousands across the world. People are dying. Yeah. But I want to say, let's also put it into context, because people die every year of flu-type viruses. The numbers are not more. The numbers are not more. That is according to the World Health Organization, their own figures. It's not more. However, we are talking about it more. We're giving it all of our attention. We are consuming it. And so what's happening is we are building this thing up. I've had 2 members of my family that have had COVID. My husband's had it, my son's had it, and my daughter's. That's 3.
Wow.
They are perfectly fine. All they had a cough. They weren't very energetic, so they weren't doing much and blowing their noses. That was it.
So Dr. Patricia, you were with them?
No, this is while I'm here. Here.
Okay.
While I'm here, yes. Within the last 3 weeks, where are we now? January. So in January, they all experienced it. The 3 of them. So my husband, my daughter, and my son. And what I want to say is, I want to remind everybody, it is 97% recoverable. So 97% of people recover. It's not a death sentence. Right. So if we can just take away the fear that comes from having this shown to us every single day, and actually begin to think about it, it's nothing actually new. It's a new strain. But there's a new strain every year, which is why they have a new flu vaccine every year. But they are now focusing on the COVID. So I want to say to people, if we look at the figures, take away the emotion, take away your anxiety and your fear, and have a look. Go and look at the website, look at the government websites. And if you look at it, the numbers are not more than any other year. That is fact. That is not me saying that. However, we have chosen to focus on this. Whatever the reason is, I'm not going to discuss that, but I will say to you, stop consuming the death count. Stop consuming how awful things are. You have to actually look at whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are true, where there is virtue, where there's good report. That's what you have to think about. Because if you start thinking about it, you will actually conceive it in your body. I have a friend. When she goes out, she has on not only the mask, but she has on the visor as well. She has on the gloves. She has every single thing. You can't see her. Ask me who got COVID. Ask me. It was her. Because she consumes it from morning till night. It's what Job says. The thing that I feared has come upon me. Fear will reduce your immune system like nothing else. Anxiety will weaken you like nothing else. So you have to decide and curate what it is you're listening to. Don't receive all and sundry. As I said, I've had 3 members of my close inner family. They are fine. Absolutely. The worst thing was my daughter said to me was at night, she's sweating. I mean, when I had flu, this was like about 20 years ago. I've had real flu once in my life. And I thought, oh my God, that is awful. I now see why people used to die of the flu, because it was awful. Because before, when you had a bad cold, you would say, oh, I had the flu. But it's not the flu. The flu is actually something very different. It really weakens you. You end up talking to yourself. I was having hallucinations. It's not good. But after about 3 to 4 days, I was fine. You know, it's just not a nice thing. So what I'm saying to you is, if you don't have the underlying illnesses that are already attacking your immune system, you can expect to overcome. It is not a death sentence. Tell yourself that it's not a death sentence. You have to remember that, because if you buy into the fear, if you buy into this global narrative, you will walk around in fear. So that's our choice. So I have decided not to be fearful. So you have to look after your own mental health. I don't know how many hundreds of times the Bible says, fear not, fear not, fear not, don't worry, don't fret. So that's not a place for us to entertain. So you might say to me, oh, it's easy for you. No, it's not easy. I've chosen it, and I'm saying it with understanding, because it's already hit my family. So I'm not saying because I don't understand. It's been right in my family, my husband, my 2 children. Yes, I know exactly what it is. They are all fine. So I want to say to you, there are those that may not survive, but that happens every year. Every year people die from flu. That's a sad fact of life, but look it up if you don't believe me. So I want to say to people, curate what you're taking in, curate what you're listening to. Don't just receive everything. Very important to keep a positive mental attitude, to have positive conversations. You don't have to talk about the C word every single day. Talk about something else. Life goes on. The Lord is still in you. The creator of heaven and earth is in you, and he is a person who knows no limit. So it's just bringing ourselves back to who we are, bringing ourselves back to who's in us. So for mental health, Pastor Sapphira, I would encourage people just to think about and just filter with discernment the things that they choose to take in mentally to their minds. I think that's a number one. I really do.
And I just and if I was at church now and Dr. Patricia had just did that, I would go up and say, let's stand. It's time for the altar call.
Okay. All right, Pastor. I like that, Pastor Brian.
That was absolutely fantastic. And
thank you so much.
I cannot put it any better myself, but to just simply say, I agree with you, Dr. Patricia. I totally agree with you. We have to make a decision, and you said that's what you've done. And I mean, as you said, it doesn't get any closer than that's your husband and that's your children.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get any closer than that. I've spoken to a young lady. She has recovered. She and her husband actually has recovered. Right. And she told me, I feel fine. I'm doing well. And what is interesting is that they diagnosed her with cancer sometime, and she has recovered. And she told me this is the best that she felt in a long time, because her body has gone through something, and she actually feels hopeful. You know, she's really hopeful now. So she said, I made a decision, just like what you said. I made a decision that I refuse to live in fear. I'm not gonna have myself living in fear. So she said that they have made that decision, and they're good today. You know, and that's so important, where we make a decision. I am one of those people. I watch CNN a lot. I'm actually into the news, but very often I shut off the news, because I don't want that I'm entertaining the negativity. I think we mentioned it when we first started about negativity. You entertain the negative emotions. You entertain all this negative around everything that is on the news, or you worry about everything that they say, you fret about. You know, that is bringing fear and sickness into your environment. And you know, and it's really, really so important that we make a decision. And you are right again, referring to fear, Dr. Patricia, when you say that do not fear has been mentioned so many times in the Bible. One of the times I remember is when the angel appeared to Mary, which was a strange situation. He said to her, "Do not fear."
Yeah.
Then the Bible said, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love,
Yes.
and a sound mind. So I honestly
Yes.
believe that if God has given us these two things, love and a sound mind, and those are the two things that we need to spend our energy in.
Absolutely.
more than we spend energy saying, "Oh boy, what's happening? So many people dying, this thing happening, and this thing," and we really have to shift our mind from that place.
Yes.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Agreed. And I think it becomes a struggle when there is no intentionality behind it. When you don't, you put yourself in a frame of mind that says, I can't do this, and you focus more on the negative. But if you, and you are rightfully said it, if you are intentional in it and say, you know what, I am going to get up, I'm going to follow this routine, I'm going to switch the news off, I'm going to play some worship in the home, I'm going to play music that I can dance and just have a good time, I'm going to play some motivational thing, or get from 6 to 7 or 6:30 to 7 is my exercise routine. And if you establish that, then what you're doing is that you're intentionally focusing on the good things in life. Now, you say to us, well, Sophie, you don't have no kids, so you don't know what it means to have to get up and cook. You can get up when you want, you go when you want, come when you want. Or you might say, I have to get up and prepare. The kids have to get to school, online school at 8 o'clock, and the tablet not working, the homework has to get done, and all of those things. One of the things is, and as we mentioned it before, is in cases like that, the importance of routine and time and setting time slots. So at the end of the day, or at some point during the day, you have, whether it's a downtime, alone time, me time, read a book, listen to music, write a journal, or connect with a friend via Zoom or something like that. But if there is no structure to your day, if there is no structure to who you are as an individual, then intentionality is going to be hard, because you would feel to do it and I do it one day, but because you're not making it a routine, it's going to be easy to slip through. So we just have about 8 minutes again. Let's quickly go over to what can we do to boost our emotional health. And I know it's going to tie in very closely to mental health. Where can we go? What can we do, especially in places like Barbados, Antigua and Barbuda and the islands, that movement is now limited in terms of how far you can go. In Trinidad, we can still go down to the park, the beach is open, we could still have that level of movement. What are some ways to stay emotionally healthy? And not just if you have a simple schedule, but for a mom who is homeschooling, for a mom who is at work during the day, for a mom who has to take care of ailing parents, is in a financial crisis, the stresses. How do you maintain emotional health? Let's start with Pastor Brian.
I would say, Wendy, if I have noticed the importance of family, and when I say family, I don't necessarily mean blood, but family in terms of you can call and have a conversation. We're living in an era now, you can open Zoom and you can watch a movie on Zoom together, and the person could be in China, right? I think that we have to use these tools that we have, the tools of the internet, to help us with that. Also, what I was mentioning with family, because a telephone call is important during this time. A WhatsApp is important during this time. A video making fun. I mean, simple things. You can pick up your phone and do a funny face and send to your friend. You can find a funny joke, a nice clean joke on TikTok and send to your friend and laugh. I think these are simple things, but also things that are practical that we will take for granted. So I'm saying that we can remain mentally in good health if we do some basic and if you look at it, I saw a documentary early this year, or was it last year, where they were paying this guy to make them laugh. This guy had a laughing class, and persons were paid to go in the laughing class because they laughing was medicine. It was some kind of prescribed the word isn't coming to me, but the doctor told them you need to laugh because it helps free your body, helps free you of stress. So these people went and they enroll in the class. So why can't you make some fun with your friend, send some messages and laugh with each other and stuff like that? I believe that all of these things are necessary during this time. There's not the freedom to move around, but we have the ability to use our phones and stuff like that, and crack little jokes with each other. If you watch a picture that is funny, you call your friend and you say, "Hey, I just watched this picture and they had a good laugh. Maybe you can check it out." I think that those basic fundamentals helps, and they are practical. If you're into reading books and you get some fun out of reading books, read the book. Message a friend and say, "You believe I just read this book and this guy was gonna divorce this lady because she had on nails," or whatever, but something that's funny so that the person can get a laugh. You can be saving that person's life by just giving them something to laugh at, or you can stop them from having a nervous breakdown. So I would say those simple things can help.
Awesome. Dr. Patricia?
Yeah, I kind of missed that, so I had to quickly run out for the VIP, but back again. I was going to say, to remember what makes you laugh, to remember what gives you joy. And they don't have to be expensive things. I mean, I actually signed up for a dance class. And so I've actually signed up. I'm going to learn a new form of dancing. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I think I've mastered it. It's something really fun. I've never done it before. It's Latin based. So I'm going to have to learn how to move myself in ways I'm not used to moving, but I'm just challenging myself. I'm just doing something different. I'm thinking outside the box, Yeah. And so I just want to maybe suggest that this might be a good time to try something completely new. Just challenge yourself, surprise yourself even. Life can be quite exciting, even though there is the expression lockdown. That is a frame of mind. You can now begin to open. The world is in your head. What are you thinking? So what can you do? And, we do have access, as you say, to all these opportunities online. See what you like, see what you fancy, try something new. And I'll keep you posted about my dancing lessons, okay? But don't laugh.
You have to, Dr. Patricia, you have to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Well, Dr. Patricia, I have a friend that says to me that you need to free up and you need to not be always so formal and always so, I've known you since you were 18 and you've always been this. So who knows? I might take you up and join that dance class. Well, find a dance class and see.
Yes. I better tell you what it is before you sign up. You might not be too sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Wow. But I think laughter is a good tip. I think the world has gotten very serious this past year.
Yeah.
And we've been so stringent and I love what you said, Dr. Patricia. Lockdown is a frame of mind. And while we are adhering to the guidelines and safety measures and protocols put in place, we're also having to to, sometimes we take that on us as well. So laughter is good. So can I challenge you all for the next week to find something every day to laugh about, no matter how foolish or how crazy. I mean, TikTok has a lot of stuff, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Go watch some Family Feud with Steve Harvey. I mean, do something, but laugh, go watch a comedy, find something. And if you get any nice ones, send them to me. I like to laugh too. So, laughter really is the best medicine. So we're getting ready to wrap up now. I hope that this session would have been enlightening to you. Before you go, we want to take a commercial break, and then we go.
Prophetic Encounter presents our weekly devotionals starting this Sunday, 31st January, and continues every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Tune in for a time of intercession, warfare, and prophetic declarations. Mark 11:24 says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you have received it, and it shall be yours." PE, the Global Move.
All right, guys, so welcome back to Living Life God's Way. So as we get ready to wrap up this session, I want to thank you for joining me. I am so thrilled that we're able to have this discussion. I'm going to ask Dr. Patricia to share her thoughts for a couple of seconds, and then we turn right over to Pastor Brian.
Yeah, just reiterating what Pastor Sophie said, we're so happy that you've joined us, especially for this session. We feel it's so important, so pertinent, so now. And it's now time for you to look after your self-care. This is self-care time, and that is heart, that is spirit, that is mind, that is soul, and it's body. It's very holistic, it's very complete. And we want to encourage you just to tune into these shows, because these shows are with you in mind. And then we are also part of your self-care. We're here to help you, especially during this time. So thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you all next week. Bring a friend.
All right, and I too want to join these two ladies, special ladies, beautiful ladies, and say it has been our pleasure to bring Living Life God's Way to you. And Dr. Patricia's right. We prepare the program, or we have the thoughts with you in mind, hoping that what we bring to you will be able to help, and especially during this era that we're living in, and help you navigate your different movements in this journey. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here. Please share the live with your friends, share the live with your family, tell somebody about it. We gave some simple and practical tips on things that you can do to help yourself be in a positive frame of mind, that you don't have to be negative, and you don't have to feel that you have lost everything, or you don't have to be stressed. You can actually find some good creative ways to entertain yourself. You can do like Dr. Patricia and start a dance class. So we want to say to you, thank you again for being with us, and we wish you a great evening. We wish you God's blessing. We encourage you to stay safe out there, wear your mask, sanitize if you have to go out. But if you don't have to go out, we encourage you to stay in, no matter what country you're in, wherever you are. If you don't have to go out, we encourage you to stay in. But if you have to, remember what the Bible says. We shared that during this week, what the Bible says about the prevention of pandemic. So it is there on our page. So God bless you. Thank you again. We love you. See you next week, 6:30, for Living Life God's Way. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I am Brian Calendar. Join me in the Living Life God's Way team every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. And in addition, we are also aired on Radio 365 Grenada. It will be our pleasure to host you in this show. We talk about life, things that matter to persons in life, and things that are necessary to be discussed. Others may not discuss them, but join us, 6:30 p.m., Living Life God's Way.
A blessed good morning, family.
Prophetic Encounter presents our weekly devotionals starting this Sunday, 31st January, and continues every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Tune in for a time of intercession, warfare, and prophetic declarations. Mark 11:24 says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you have received it, and it shall be yours." PE, the Global Move.